Ah, pull up a chair, stranger, and let me tell you a tale whispered across the winds of the West. A story of grit, redemption, and the harsh hand of fate. This is the legend of John Marston, the outlaw who sought to bury his past, only to find it had dug its spurs deep into his soul. John Marston was a man caught between two worlds. The wild and untamed West he once roamed as an outlaw, and the civilized law and order creeping in like a slow sunset. He tried to leave his life of crime behind, settling with his wife Abigail and their son Jack on a quiet ranch. But the past, they say, is like a rattlesnake. It never stays buried. The government came calling, holding his family hostage as leverage to force him to track down and kill his old gang, men who had once been his brothers in arms. With no choice but to comply, John set out across the rugged, sun-scorched plains of America, hunting down the remnants of his old life. Bill Williamson, the brute who once called him friend. Javier Escuela, the snake with a silver tongue. And at the heart of it all, Dutch van der Linde, the man who had once been like a father to John, now driven mad by dreams of rebellion and chaos. The road was long and perilous. Marston crossed paths with the desperate and the wicked, the innocent and the damned. He rode through towns clinging to life, battled against bandits in the hills, and even ventured into the burning deserts of Mexico, where revolution brewed like a storm. Every man and woman he met had a story. Every choice John made carved deeper into his soul. But this was no simple tale of revenge or justice. No, this was a story of redemption. For every life John took, he sought to save another. For every sin he had committed, he tried to set things right. He wasn't looking for glory or riches. He was just a man trying to buy his family a future, even if it cost him everything. In the end, John confronted Dutch in the snowy mountains, where their story had begun. Dutch, wild-eyed and weary, spoke of a world he no longer understood. And when the end came, it was with a gunshot and a fall. A reminder that the West itself was dying, taking men like Dutch with it. John returned to his family, thinking the nightmare was over. But the West is a cruel mistress, and redemption often comes with a price. When the government came for him, they came with guns and numbers. John Marston stood his ground, fighting not for his life, but for his family's chance at one. In a hail of bullets, he fell, a lone gunslinger standing against the tide of change. His sacrifice wasn't in vain. Abigail and Jack lived on, free to carve their own path in the new world rising from the ashes of the old. But the name John Marston echoes in the canyons and whispers in the wind, a legend of a man who tried to leave the outlaw's life behind and paid the ultimate price for his redemption. So, stranger, as you ride these trails, remember his story. The West may be tamed now, but its spirit lives on in the men and women who dared to fight for something better. And John Marston? Well, he's the kind of legend that lingers, etched into the land, just like the tracks of a lone horse riding into the horizon.